What is going on, guys? So today is the culmination of honestly a pretty big project. Pretty much from the inception of the idea that I was actually going to do this to buying parts and all that kind of stuff and getting everything prepared to do it, it's been about 3 years. Now that is quite a long time, but I'm not going to lie to you guys, the end product, it's worth it. Yum. Yum. So I'm going to get some lunch. If you guys like the video, make sure to like and subscribe. And tell me what you would do next to this car if you had it in the comments. I'm going to pass the camera over to me from 3 years ago, and he's going to let you know what it takes to get those brakes on this car. How's it going, everybody? So today I've got another new mod for the IS. So you know how I just put the new tails on? Well, why let people see me better when I'm braking if I'm not braking harder? I got a set of LS400 calipers for the IS. That's going to be quite a brake upgrade. It's going to be a 4-piston caliper with bigger rotors and meaner pads. So I'm going to start taking this one apart and make it look like that. Alright guys, so I'm going to start out by using some pliers to take the pins out. And I'm going to grab a T50 Torx bit and my ratchet and start to split the caliper. Now this part is not necessary if you're just going to rebuild your calipers, but I'm going to actually powder coat them. So I would like to be able to replace the seal that goes in between the two caliper halves, just because if you bake that, then it could end up having issues. So I'm just going to take this apart, take those seals out so I don't have to deal with it. As you can see, those halves are coming apart. You can see those pistons are starting to come out. That's one piston out. I'll just get some channel locks and kind of try to get this other piston out. There we go. You want to be pretty careful with these pistons because if they do get damaged, then your brakes are going to leak. I'll just pull out the seals. Alright, so now these calipers are fully disassembled as you normally would disassemble them. To get these to actually fit on the IS, these mounts are a little bit off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these mounts off. I'm just going to grab a little bolt that threads into them and then a socket that fits around it perfectly, kind of like that. And we're going to go to the vise. And stick this whole assembly in it. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to press that threaded portion of it out of the caliper. So as you guys can see, that's moving right there. Now these threads are just a little piece that's pressed into the caliper, and these are what keeps these from fitting onto the IS300. There's a company called Figs Engineering that actually makes adapters for IS300s that are basically just new ones of these that are just offset a little bit to fit in the IS mounts. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be putting those in once I get them powder coated, and that's going to allow me to stick these on my car. There we go. So these essentially I won't ever need again. Alright, so now the caliper is completely disassembled and I can box this all up and take it to go get powder coated. Alright, so before I was actually able to take everything to the powder coater, there were a few imperfections in the calipers just from them being shipped and, you know, used and all that kind of stuff. I had a couple chips. I'll put them on the screen right now. But as you can see, they were right on the surface that everybody's going to see through the wheel, so I didn't want to leave that and have it look like garbage afterwards. So I ended up actually taking them to a company to weld them up, and they just put a couple tacks on the parts that were low, and I sanded them down, made sure that everything was nice and smooth, and then they were ready for powder coat. So I hope you guys can see, but right here we had a big old dent, and up here we had a big old one, and now they're gone. So I just got all the calipers welded up and kind of finished a little bit. You can see them here. They look fucking so nice. I really kind of only worried about the front side of them because the way that I see it, you're only going to see the front side when you're looking in through the wheel. So I don't really think that the back side of the caliper, this side, is really going to matter if it's all smooth and stuff, because nobody's ever going to see that, honestly. So I got the front sides basically perfect. Now I'm going to get them powder coated, and while I'm doing that, I want to send in the rears too to get powder coated, because there's no point in having saucy looking front brakes if your rear brakes look like butt. So I'm going to go ahead and start disassembling the car, and then maybe test fit some stuff, just kind of see how it looks. Yeah, I honestly probably should have done these brakes a little bit sooner. Oh yeah! Check that out. Change your brake pads, kids. Don't be like me and let them go metal to metal for like fucking 4 weeks before you decide to finally do something about it. Oh, you're a skink. Oh, you're a skink. Oh yeah, this side was about to go metal to metal too. Look at that. Paper thin. God damn. It's a good thing I'm doing this. Nice. So it's the next day. I got some hose clamp pliers and a bunch of cans of brake clean. I'm hoping that when I pull the calipers, I can just clamp off the brake lines and that hopefully all my brake fluid won't come out. But yeah, we'll see if that actually ends up coming to fruition. Honestly, these things look a little bit chintzy. They're just plastic and they got these little ratcheting fucking bars. So I mean, hopefully they work. We'll see. Hey, look at that! No brake fluid even came out. That's dry. That's badass. Ooh, baby. Check that pad out. Nothing left on that bitch. God damn. These pads are the smallest fucking things I've ever seen in my life. I can't believe these are actually used to stop a car. That's ridiculous. So now that I've got them that far disassembled, I'm actually going to take them to work because I need to pull the pistons out and I don't have compressed air at the shop. So it's the same process as the fronts. You've already seen that. I won't bore you with the rest of it, but yeah, just got to pull the bolts and use compressed air to get the pistons out. So this is a pretty good time to show you guys kind of the difference between these calipers. The stock IS300 calipers are a dual piston floating style, which I mean is like, it works. Those, however, those will get you all the swag and those will get you all the bitches. Those are sick. So these ones are going to be a 4-piston design. You're going to get 2 pistons on each side, each opposing each other, and that's going to be where you're getting your clamping force from. So these ones are going to be able to cool a lot easier since they're full aluminum construction instead of the steel that these are made out of. Along with the new calipers that we're getting, we're also getting slightly upgraded rotor size, so that's going to help a lot with heat dissipation. Now there is one kind of big misconception that a lot of people believe, and that's that bigger brakes are going to mean that you're going to be able to stop faster. Now that's not true at all. The main limiting factor on any stock system isn't your brakes at all, it's your tires. So basically whenever you hit the brakes too hard and you feel ABS come on, that's your tires losing traction because your brakes are actually applying enough force to be able to stop them completely. Now, if you don't have traction in the tires, you won't be able to slow down any faster. So if you are trying to find ways to make your car stop a little bit faster, don't start with the brakes. The tires are going to be the first thing that's going to give. I'd say if you're looking for swag and the bitches to accompany you, big brake kit is definitely the way to go. Now what it does do is that it adds mass to your braking system. So when you're using the brakes heavily, like say you're doing a track day or something like that, it's going to be able to dissipate heat a lot better than a smaller braking system would be able to. So technically, if you are using them in that rigorous of an environment, it will help because you won't suffer as much brake fade, you won't suffer as much just overheating of the brakes and that kind of stuff because they won't be working as hard. I've basically gotten all the parts that I need to put my whole brake system all back together, and oh my god, can I just say, this is gonna look dope. Check this shit out. Yum! That's sick as shit. So the color came out really fucking cool. As you can see, it's kind of it's hard to tell on camera, but it's kind of a really like nice dark gold. It's nice and classy, you know. But when the sun hits it, it fucking pops. So this is gonna look amazing on the IS once they're installed. But before I get to that, there are actually a couple of little modifications I have to do. I think I might just throw the rears on right now because those are easy. Those came off the car, so it's no big deal. Fronts, however, I'm going to have to do some modification to get them to fit. I have an adapter kit to actually make them bolt on because they don't actually have the same mounts. And I will have to modify the backing plates a little bit. Basically, the stock backing plates on the IS don't actually fit the LS400 calipers or rotors at all. So I'm going to have to take them off the car and see if I can modify them in a way to get them to fit. I was thinking about seeing if I could get some other backing plates that would work and like look nicer, but I mean, I'll make it look good. So yeah, let's get started. So I don't have to dig out the new rotors, so I can give you guys a little size comparison between the new ones and the old ones. It's crazy. Whew! God damn. Go, boys. High performance rotors. As if I wasn't already pretentious enough. Oh god. Oh god, look at that. Look at that. Woo! I'm zoomed in too far. You can't even see how big this thing is. Look at that. Now that's a real rotor. I'll put these next to each other so you can see them. Now you guys can kind of see the difference between the old and the new. So I'd say it's about 3/4 of an inch of difference between the new and the old. Which I mean isn't a whole lot, but it'll give me a good amount of braking performance. I got the cryogenically treated rotors, so hopefully those will be a little bit better than the normal ones. They're also slotted and not drilled. I chose slotted just because it's baller as hell. but drilled rotors seem to crack a lot more often, so I wanted to avoid that. Oh, fuck. Oh, you fucking skank. There we go. So now we'll just clean up those cuts and make it easier to get it back in. But for now, we're going to ditch the backing plate and we're going to put on the roll center adjusters. That is going to space out the knuckle enough so that our calipers will fit without having to modify them too much. Alright, so now that I have the roll center adjusters and all that installed on the car, I'm going to go ahead and take apart the front caliper. I want to take the two halves apart and only have the back half on there so that when I'm checking where the actual press-in fittings, these guys right here, those are the offset press-in caliper mounts for the figs kit. I have to basically line those up because they're made for super brakes where they actually have like an angle on there that you can line it up with and it'll fit. But on the LS400 brakes, you just have to clock them whichever way they fit. So we'll get on to measuring where the caliper is actually going to sit, and then we'll be able to rebuild it and put everything together. That's where those offset mounts are going to go. So basically I'm going to try to mount that up and see where they have to be clocked to see where the hole has to be. Then once I get that started, I'm going to be able to actually push them all the way in. Alright, so I've got this lined up. I just measured the rotor on there to see if this would all match up. And it looks like it does. So now I am prepared to pull these all the way in. And they actually have a compound that you're supposed to put on there to make sure that these stay in there nice and snug. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that and pull these all the way through. Alright guys, so I just finished putting the figs adapters on the calipers. I threw them on with the rotors and put the front halves on them. And oh my god, this is starting to get me excited. This shit looks so good. Look at this. Oh my god. That is badass. Oh, it looks so sick. Oh my god. That's dope as shit. That is dope as shit. So now all I have left is I have to modify that heat shield to make it fit with that caliper. Then I have to pull the caliper off again and actually go through the process of installing all the seals and pistons and everything like that so that I can put it on the car and get them bled. Alright, so I just cut the backing plate a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see very well, but that fits. And it doesn't touch the caliper anywhere. It's nice. Now that I'm done with that, it's time to clearance the outside so I can fit a rotor on it. These parts right here I think are gonna hit pretty hard. So we'll see what we can do about that. Jesus Christ, I'm dirty. So actually, instead of cutting the backing plate to fit the rotor on, I just bent the fucker, and honestly, it doesn't look bad. See, the whole rotor doesn't scrape on anything, and like, that's still an intact factory backing plate. I mean, other than just cutting that one piece right here to get the actual caliper to fit, I didn't really have to do anything. And the thing spins, everything's free. I think this side's basically done, which is crazy. We're basically there, guys. So everything is modified to be able to be put on the car right now. The last thing is to bring these calipers back to life by putting some new seals in them, doing a little bit of surgery on them, and we'll be good. We can throw them on. We'll have a big brake kit. I mean, come on. I don't know what to tell you. One spicy Sumitomo Slimer. So I just received the last piece of the puzzle. Wheel spacers, because the front brakes don't fit the factory wheels. So since I don't necessarily have the cash to afford new wheels. This is going to be the route for a little bit. Once I save up for some, I will be putting wheels on the car, but for now these will work. Alright, so that's what the spacers look like on the car. These are a hub-centric spacer. They're 25mm, and they're actually pretty nice. They just came from Amazon. I think I spent about $100 for a set of 4, and they seem to be quality, so yeah, it's time to put the wheels on. Alright guys, so wheels are on, vehicle is on the ground. You can see that with the spacers, it gives it a little baby bit of poke. It's not a huge amount. I'd say it's probably like a good 10 mil in the front, but in the rear it's sitting pretty flush to the fender. So I'm not mad about that fitment. I do believe that once I get coilovers or lower it in some sort of way, that's actually going to look pretty nice. Now I think I'm going to get new wheels at some point, and I might just go with something that'll fit about where that is, but hopefully without using spacers. But we'll see. I've been thinking about some odd hands or you know, some just different types. I'm not really going for anything too expensive, but something that'll look good and, you know, just not look like a stock wheel, especially since these are all fucking shit. You can see all the paint's coming off of them. One of them actually got pretty brown from how fucking long I had the brakes metal to metal. You see this one? Yum! Yeah, I tried pressure washing that off and it doesn't necessarily want to come off. So yeah, if you guys have any tips for that, let me know. But other than that, I think it's time to go drive this thing. Alright guys, so I'm going to be ending the video right there. Pretty soon I'm going to be posting a review and a price breakdown on that swap. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'll see you next time.